How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Boost Famine. I'm here back in my own room. Pablo's gone. He has a friend visiting from out of town, so he won't be in. But remember to make sure you check out his videos. I'm here with a box of dark chocolate covered almonds and Muhammad Ali, and we're going to break down Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 from Green and Burgess's YouTube and the Mainstream Media uh, book. So, here we go. First point I wanted to talk about was a quote from the beginning of that second chapter, and it sort of just talked about how there was sort of panic within the mainstream media companies, corporations, like the big players in that department, with the creation of YouTube, because it took the power, or it was the first step in taking the power out of those mass media companies, the NBCs, the Viacoms, like those huge companies that control all media distribution basically in the world. YouTube was something completely different because it allowed the common person to upload their own media, whatever project they created, and put it onto some platform, YouTube, and distribute that to everyone without that third party. So it basically just brought creators, the people who create content, and with their viewers together without a third, television rights deal or some like exclusive streaming thing, because that didn't even exist back then. So initially, when YouTube first was created, there was even less regulation than there is now, because obviously it was still new. Companies are still figuring out how to get their share of this pie out of YouTube. But at the beginning, there was a lot of sort of, not really hysteria, but I'd say like panic among those bigger companies, because they saw what YouTube could potentially lead to is the loss of importance in those companies, because people could just go straight to YouTube with their videos. Just going to take a quick dark chocolate almond break. And we're back. The second thing I wanted to talk about from this section of the reading was a phenomenon that's sort of completely been created by YouTube, in which entertainment industry recruiters, so for music or for television shows or for movies, are now spending more and more time and energy on trolling through YouTube's vast category of uh, videos, different content creators, and searching out these people, because these people clearly have talent if they're able to build up, a massive following, and going to these people, searching them out, and offering them contracts. So, for example, the reading mentioned how Andy Samberg and his little crew of like funny guys had a very popular YouTube video, Lazy Sunday, one of the first very popular YouTube videos. And there was a sequence of events, but basically it ended up with them landing like a gig writing material for SNL. There was other examples of people who were very good at music and uploaded like tons of videos on that, being found by different recording companies and getting offered recording contracts based off of just their YouTube performance. So I think that's just a very interesting thing that's developed, is now people, these talent finders, I guess you could call them. It used to be much more simplified or streamlined process to find people. There was a way that it was done. People could audition, people could go to tryouts and different stuff like that. But now people are posting their own content and creating their own following, and people are seeking that out. Another break, real quick. The last thing I wanted to talk about was what I believe the you in YouTube to be. So for me, I think that the you in YouTube will always end up being the user, because YouTube ultimately is such a user-driven platform that the you is so important. So while everyone might use YouTube differently, I'm mainly just a watcher, or I look for different things. Up until recently, I've never had a vlog before, But for others, who are very dedicated to vlogging or their specific channel, that you is completely different thing. Like that you is they're content creators and that's what they do. So that you means something a little different, but it's still personal. So that you will always, in my mind, be the user, but that user can do different things with YouTube because as we've read and talked about so much, YouTube is so great because there's so many different ways you can use it, and I think that's why it's grown so massively. But yeah, that about wraps it up. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Boost Famine. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.